Frankie, it's Nick here of DigiVisi. Thank you for submitting your request for a video review of your website. Without further ado, let's get cracking. Any questions at any point, feel free to email me or give me a call. So, your website is clearly about kinesiology and your business name is Kinesiology London. Interestingly, that's in your domain name, which makes it easier in terms of using the right density on your web pages with your brand name. In some cases, when there's a different, where businesses have a different name that doesn't contain their keyword, they find it difficult sometimes to ensure they've got the right density of the keyword. Now, your keyword has exactly 260 searches on average per month. There are some months where, in the last, I think 12 months, where they've been quite high, like 380 total searches, and I think 400 here. It does appear to be rising, particularly on mobile, which is this red line. So it's important that your website has a good mobile version. I'm not looking at the mobile version today, but it's just something to bear in mind, seeing this red line. So I want to raise this as well, because I can see part of your website is targeting Kinesiology Consultations London, and I'll show you a bit later on what I mean by that. And what you can see here, that there are no searches, so it's really important that you change a particular aspect of your website so that it's not Kinesiology Consultations London, but Kinesiology London, okay? Otherwise, it's going to prevent you from performing for this keyword. I'm going to now flick over to the search results. So I've searched in Kinesiology London into Google, and you're doing fantastically well in the map pack here. This will be partly due to the number of reviews. So you've got 18 compared to basically all of the other ones. I will just make it kind of raise some potential concerns. So your kind of listing name here is Frankie Cossi Health Kinesiology, but your website name is Kinesiology London. I strongly suggest changing that, because that is not kind of the name of your business as per your website, if you like. So that's potentially worth changing to Kinesiology London, and it's a keyword, so it's going to keep you performing at this high point as well. But I do note that on your website, your logo does contain Frankie Cossi, and so there's a bit, almost somewhat of a predicament there. So it's something to think about. Moving on, looking at the competitors, I'm going to enable a kind of an extension into Chrome that allows us to see the domain authority. So each of these websites have a domain authority. So how authoritative are these websites compared to each other? As we can see, Harley Street has a domain authority of 21. Kinesiologylondon.co.uk is 30. I recognise that you're .com, so I initially clicked on this, realising it's not the right one. And you get the idea. They've all got a different domain authority, and there's some of the lower ones down here, domain authority of 13. So really, this is telling us in order to get onto page 1, we'd need a domain authority of around 13 as a minimum, but ideally somewhere between 20 and 30 in order to be in the top 3 performing pages. This company here, kinesiologylondon.co.uk, could in theory be above Harley Street if they fix some of the issues associated with their site on the basis that they have a higher domain authority. Now, if we go and have a look and see where you're performing, so I've searched your website and I've used the keyword Kinesiology London. You can see here that you've got you're not performing anywhere in the top 100, and I can give you some clues as to why that is the case. So moving over onto your website, first of all, you will see actually a slight blurred out at the top of your menu. That's only for me to cover up my tabs, but that's not really the focus here. The main focus is what you've got on this web page. So Kinesiology London is perfect here because it's set as a heading 1 tag. I can see that here. What that means is that this is really kind of the most important heading on this web page, and it's also targeting your main keyword. So that's fantastic. However, just above it, you've got muscle response testing, and that is a heading 3 tag, which shouldn't be there. A heading 3 tag, in theory, should be lower than a heading 1 tag. So ideally, you can put muscle testing response underneath this heading 1 tag, but I would only use it if we could match it to a keyword. And maybe there's another variation that is already being searched by your potential customers. So that's the heading kind of issues there. There are a few issues with the headings throughout the site. I mean, I've only got to click here and then inspect it, and I can kind of get an idea that you've got a heading 2 tag. You're potentially targeting London Kinesiology here. Whether that kind of flipped variation works is another thing. I would probably go ahead with using the same variation of Kinesiology London, so just switch these the other way around. That would probably work better in terms of your performance. Again, you've got some other headings here. I've only got to inspect them to see kind of what structure. I can see you've got 2 separate headings here. Shouldn't really be the case. There should just be one heading 2 tag. So moving a bit further up though, coming off the headings, because I'm going to touch on that a little bit later on. The very first thing that I come and see on the site, I quite like the kind of the blurred out background, but what really confuses me is your call to actions. And if it's confusing me, it's going to be confusing your potential customers. So let me explain what I mean by that. First of all, you've got a book a consultation here. Now that's fine. Most websites will have some clear call to action straight under the heading. Sometimes they'll have a description as well. So that's fine. That's absolutely fine. No issues with that. But then I look on the right hand side of your screen and I see new, and then you've got online consultations and see testimonials and this button. So you've got 4 call to actions on this desktop version above the fold, which is really confusing to potential users. So like, where do I click? And as a result of this confusion, they might not click on anything. So we're going to scroll down a bit further on. We've got more things for them to do. There's another contact form box here. There's some information here, and then there's a video that they can watch. And then I might go, okay, I'm going to watch a bit of that video, and then completely ignore that because I'm not ready at this stage to give you my details. I need to learn about you. I need to learn about the service. I need to see how other people have found the service, but I want to see that all on the same page rather than having to try and find which button to click on. Moving further down, the structure's a bit confusing if I'm completely honest, because of where I have to move my mouse all over the page. But this bit in the middle is, I'm not sure if it's correct. So when I click on overcoming traumas or overcoming past traumas, I expect to kind of see some information about how kinesiology can help, but instead it just takes me to the top of the site. This if you have content here that kind of like an accordion, so you click on it and it drops down with the information, that can really add a lot of SEO value by adding more content to your homepage. Again, you've got a consultation, so you really at this point you're trying to kind of encourage them to feel that kinesiology is right for their current situation. So that makes a lot of sense to have the consultation there. But then you've got this information here, and so do they look at this bit? Do they look at this bit? What are they doing first? You need to decide what information is more valuable to the user at which point on this web page, and kind of think of it. If you're looking at what you can see on your screen now, you want them to do one thing. At the minute, they can either do that, they can either do any of this, they could read this. There's too many things for them to do. And then there's, again, another call to action here, so there's too many. This is nice with the information. I'm not sure what this is about. It's very confusing. I think it's laid out in an incorrect way. There's some issues here, clearly, with the boxes and the shadows. This is nice. This image here is showing, the utmost professionalism that you provide. This should really be at the top. I would have this maybe just underneath that image, and then a short description about who you are, why someone uses you, and the benefits of using you. And then underneath maybe have that box, that call to action, or perhaps move into this information. It's far too low on the page. This is, it's very unlikely that someone's going to come to this point and then see this information. And then you've got some reviews, which are, of course, very good. I mean, I would suggest adding your Google My Business reviews as a special plugin you can use if you're using if you're using WordPress, and that's something that I can help install. You've got this massive blank space here, so you could be using this for quick links around your site. I know you've got some here, but perhaps adding more content to your site, or maybe displaying some of your blog posts here could really help send authority from your homepage to those other pages. And that brings me on to another point. So you won't be able to see it at the minute, but your domain authority is domain authority of 4. So you need to build that up to about 20 to 30. And there are different types of links that we can talk about to get you there. On the whole, though, this report is giving you kind of an overall technical review of it, and technically it's okay. In terms of the use of different elements, the heading, title tags, the descriptions, and so on and so forth. I'm not really too concerned about this. If you've not got the keywords in the right places, you're still going to get a high score on this report, but it's just saying from a technical standpoint, the right things are being used. I mentioned earlier about your keyword targeting Kinesiology Consultations London. This is what I meant. So it's in your title tag of your website. So what that means is they can see this on Google. So when I go over here, I can see Kinesiology Consultations London. So that's the wrong keyword to be targeting. You just want to focus on Kinesiology London. What I want to do is I want to show you kind of the main issues with regards to your site. So the content of your site on your home page is only 40 out of 100. That needs to be improved by 28 in order to be competing with those other pages on the first page for the same keyword. In regards to building your backlink profile in order to improve your domain authority, there are some quick tips here. So I'm going to show you these ones. This review or this audit is suggesting that you build links from these sites here. Now I can help you build 160 local citations and have your business featuring in more than 650 UK newspapers. So that would help you 100% dominate the search results, way more than the recommended 8 here. In terms of your content, so this has given me an overview of what terminologies are being used on your competitors' pages, how many times are they being used, and the density that they're being used by your competitors. So this is something for us to make sure that you use either the same terminology or similar terminology in the right places at the right time in order to show Google that you're referring to the same content, you're talking about the same thing. This flagged up as an issue. So there's somewhere on your web page you've got a kind of a heading 2 to heading 6 tag with basically too many words. So what this means is you need to reduce the use of your heading tags and the words in your heading tags to be able to fit within the same range of your competition. So if you're looking at some of the top 3 businesses, you're like 4 times, 5 times more than what they have. So you need to massively reduce that down to fit in the same range. Again, you've got too much text in bold. You need to reduce that as well. There's this report goes on, and to fix all of these issues does take time, but it's one of those things that you need to fit within the range of your competitors to be performing in the same place. And then lastly, your speed. So your speed isn't great at the minute. There are other tests to get a more accurate figure, but things need to be reduced. So we need to reduce the page size, and one of those ways of doing it is reducing the images or further optimizing those images. So this is an overview of kind of where you are. So really, in summary, your domain authority is far too low to be featuring on the homepage for Kinesiology London. So in order to build that, you need to build backlinks. There are various different types of backlinks. One of those being local citations, which has mostly been drawn on here. I can build those along with other guest post type backlinks that can send more authority to your webpage. With a high authority, increases your chances of ranking for that keyword. In addition to building your domain authority, I strongly recommend building your content to improve it so that you've got a score of above 70. Ideally around 70, 75, if not higher. And that needs to have the similar density of these keywords should they be relevant. Again, fixing other forms of content as well on your site would be ideal. The only thing I haven't done in this video is record or make a note of the website audit, which is a technical audit the overall website, but given that I've just focused on the homepage and picked up some of the issues, it's likely that you've got a relatively low score. I hope you found this useful. I know there's a lot of information to digest, so any questions with regards to any of this information, by all means contact me via email or get in touch over the phone. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Again, there's no obligation to go ahead with any of my services. I'm just hoping that you found this useful so that you either fix this yourself or you think about going ahead with me to help you fix it and increase your inquiries. So yeah, thank you very much.